couple things about class. We're going to I want to continue along the lines of with what we talked about last class, and just kind of open it up a little bit and see where we go and see what happens. And once again, I want to remind everybody that, and I'm going to introduce you all in a couple minutes. All right. I want to remind everybody that the way this class is organized is that the lecture topics get determined pretty much a day before class. Once in a while, like I'm already planning out next Tuesday's class, but once in a while, I think I have the idea of where it's going, but mostly it's just kind of, each class is, sometimes it's built on another class, there's questions that come up, and other times it just goes in a completely different direction, just on the basis of whatever it is that's in the news. So there's something in the news that I want to talk about next Tuesday, and so that I'm already kind of thinking through a little bit, but otherwise, every semester is different. So if you feel like, hey, I was really hoping this class would be more systematic in the way that it responds to questions that are out there, I want to remind you of the following. A, there's an unlimited and infinite number of questions about the issues that we're talking about in here. Literally, it would take a lifetime to cover them all. And so we only have 15 weeks. So obviously, we're only going to get a slice of it. B, nobody agrees on what the important questions are. So if you have an idea of what you think the important questions are, well, once again, you have these magical little things called cell phones that are computers. There's more knowledge in here than you'll find anywhere in the world. So you just look it up on your own. So what this class is, it's just an attempt to kind of walk at things in a slightly different way. Okay? So I just want to show you something. So there's this thing that folks have developed called biogeographical DNA ancestry testing. And what they did was they identify DNA markers that only exist in certain areas of the world. So we know that certain subpopulations of people, if you have those markers, then you have ancestors in those particular geographic regions of the world. And so therefore, now mind you, population movements, and they shift a lot, but we have an idea that at some point in time your relatives lived, going back a long time, your relatives lived in these particular parts of the world. So it's really fascinating. And for $99, you can get a nice map of what your ancestry mix is. And it's often on sale. So next time it's on sale, I'll send it out to the class and you can do it. It's really fascinating. And so you get something like this. This is mine here that I'm, 92% Northwestern European, British and Irish. I have a lot of Irish in me. And some French and German, some Scandinavian, tiny little bit of Southern European. And then this little bit of West African here. So almost 2%. And that has remained consistent over time. And so it's really interesting. So I started doing a genealogy on myself to figure out where's the West African blood coming from. And I discovered that, there are a lot of white people that say, hey, my family didn't own slaves. A couple people in my family did. So, okay. So now I'm, really trying to trace back to see, what is that? Because somehow the sub-Saharan African blood DNA entered into my life, to my ancestors, and so here it is. And so you can discover a lot of really fascinating things about oneself. So anyway, next time that comes around, I'll send it out to the class. Okay, so why are we so sensitive? And I want to. So first thing I want to do. Can I? Who is? I want to ask a couple of students questions, right? I have a question I want to ask you. Can I have just a volunteer of someone who is doesn't know anything about the United States. You came here to study. Maybe you're a freshman. You really don't know anything about the U.S. and U.S. culture. You just have to answer a question for me. Who would that be? Like someone who's just brand. You really don't know a damn thing about U.S. culture. Like, I'm going to show you a photo, and I'm going to ask you if you know what it is. That's all you got to do. So who wants to volunteer? Wait, international student. Come on, some of you Saudis, man. There's a whole shit ton of you in here. Wait, bro, how old are you? 21? Yeah, but you've been here for 3 years, right? So you know something about who's maybe only 18, who just got here a few weeks ago. Yeah? All right. This is curiosity for me. Awesome, man. Where are you from?
I'm from Egypt.
From Egypt? What's your name?
Nadia.
Nadia? So can you move the slides forward? So one of these is a mascot. You know what a sports mascot, right? Like Penn State's the Lions and so on. Which one is an actual mascot? Do you know?
The left one, like the most outer left.
The one on the far left?
Yeah.
Why do you say that?
I don't. Maybe because of like.
The cheeks? Well, they all kind of look the same. Like, what makes you think that would be a mascot and not the other ones?
I feel like I saw that. I don't know where.
Oh, you've seen it somewhere?
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah. What do you think about that as a mascot, as somebody from Egypt?
I feel like none of them should be mascots.
None of them should be?
Yeah.
Why so? Why?
Aren't like mascots animals most of the
Yeah,
time?
but sometimes we use people. Here we do anyway.
Oh, okay. I don't know. I feel like no ethnicity should be a mascot.
Yeah. Have you studied anything about Native Americans? American Indians?
Yeah, a bit in school.
What have you learned?
Well, I've learned that, the history of how they were here first, and then Christopher Columbus or whatever that came in and claimed the land.
And committed, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So if that's you, if your ancestors, instead of being Egyptian, if you were American Indian, what would you think about that?
Offensive.
Well, how so? Why? What would make it offensive?
I feel like just like using my culture or my heritage to be a mascot in front of like schools would be offensive.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I hear it's kind of wild, right? Like any of those could be, it's kind of the same image in a way, right? If you think about it. And so any of them could be what's interesting is that in the United States, so the Indian was a mascot for a baseball team in Cleveland. Cleveland's a city that is notable because its river caught on fire one time. That's how polluted it is. But that was before you were born. Anyway, so that was the mascot for the sports team, right? So everybody wore that, and the image is everywhere, right? But because it was everywhere, people didn't really necessarily see it as offensive or as a problem, right? Because you just grow up with it and you don't really think about it. It's like one of these things that you don't think about. But when you look at it and compared to the other ones, right? Imagine like the Cleveland Blacks or Cleveland Jews or Cleveland Chinese. It takes a different feel, you know what I mean? Yeah. It's wild. And this actually is from I think it's from the 1980s. I mean, it goes back a long way. This is a Native American cartoonist from a long time ago. Like, this has been an issue for many, many years. And people who support Native American mascots have been fighting this for many years. Fighting Native people saying, like, hey, we're really offended by this. This is a really bad idea. They've been fighting it, and the supporters of the teams have been fighting them to say, no, this is our mascot. This is our heritage, our history. We want to use this mascot. And indigenous peoples are saying, dude, that's effed up, man. That's really a problem. So it's just now in these past few years have we started to make a shift. So It's fascinating, right? We would never do like Cleveland Blacks or something. Anyway, hey, all right, thanks. Yeah. I think it's one of these things that for me, it's like the fish is the one being, the one creature that doesn't see water. Because you don't see water if you're a fish. You don't know what water is. You're just in water, right? Just like kind of we're in air. And you don't think about what air is. Like it just is. It's air is air. And the fish as a creature doesn't see water. And so there are certain things about culture that we don't see because if it's part of your culture, you don't see it. And you don't understand it. But when you look at it in terms of these images, it's just highly offensive, man. Highly offensive. And it shows you how much power Native Americans have or don't have, I should say, American Indians here in the United States. Given how many years American Indians have been talking about how offensive these mascots are, and nobody has listened. Like, people have not listened. And including black and brown people, right? I mean, I could show you lots of images of black and brown people with, Cleveland Indians logos and, the Washington Redskins logos and dressing up like the Washington Redskin mascot and so on, and not even thinking anything of it. Like, you would never do Washington Blacks, but Washington or Blackskins, but the Redskins somehow is okay. So I think in my way of seeing things, a class like this, or my experience in talking about these issues over the years has been one in which I've really stepped outside of my world and just tried to see things from a different perspective. So this is one of those, right? Hey, okay, next slide. Lily. So let's do that. You have your phone, right? All right. Dang. Okay, are we ready? So we have 4 volunteers. Maybe just introduce yourself, say where you're from. We'll start with Nafisa.
My name is Nafisa. I'm from upstate New York, and I'm a sophomore.
Hi, I'm Liv. I'm from Philadelphia, and I'm a junior.
Hi, I'm Abby. I'm from North Jersey, and I'm a senior.
Hi, I'm Alejandra. I'm from Massachusetts, and I'm a junior.
Alejandra from Massachusetts. All right. So, let's go to this next image. Can you guys tell me, what that image is from? So you guys use that mic, and the two of you use this mic. You know who that is? You have any idea? You know what group that signifies? Alejandra, who do you think?
I honestly don't know. Maybe African Americans.
It's a caricature, right? I mean, it's an old cartoon. It's an old caricature. So who do you think?
Either African Americans or Indians. Just with the way their faces are drawn.
Yeah. Abby, what do you think? What's it signify? What is it?
I'm not really sure, but I see a goat. Maybe that has something to do with it.
No, the
like
goat
a goat
doesn't.
region.
Yeah. All right, goat region. Okay, got it. So what's this being right here?
I can't really see it too well.
Here, step out here a little bit. Yeah.
Oops, sorry.
What do you think?
Well, I see like a lady on the left. It looks like she's like breaking something.
Yeah.
And there's like a dude next to the goat.
And
Looking
who's
away.
the guy? Like, what's he look like? What?
Like what? Like ethnicity?
No, what animal? Whatever. What ethnicity? What ethnicity is he? And what's he made to look like?
Well, he looks like a human, but they almost gave him like monkey-like features, like the mouth. To me, almost resembles like a cartoon monkey.
Here, go to the next one. How about that one?
Yeah, that looks like a monkey.
So who do you think that is? Do you have any idea?
Well, based off like in like history classes, a lot of times like they portrayed like African Americans in a negative light, like a monkey, which is not cool.
Liv, what do you think?
Yeah, I agree with like they're probably portraying black people with a monkey, and then there's also like that guard holding something. So it seems like he's kind of watching over them, kind of supervising in a sense.
Nafisa, what do you think? By the way, Nafisa, they're all wrong. So don't say what they're saying. The monkey part you're okay with, but what?
So what are you at, like the background?
No, who is that? Who's it portraying? It's not black people.
Like the black man?
No, it's not black people at all. The monkey was used for another group also. You don't have any idea, right? Yeah. Which is interesting, right? So these are caricatures of which is what makes it so fascinating. These are caricatures of Irish, right? So one of the things and this is going to build up to why are you so sensitive, right? These are caricatures of Irish people. So Irish were depicted as monkeys, right? As closer to the apes than human beings, right? I mean, this is just the Italians, the Irish, the Slavs, and when there was every group that came into the United States, in some ways was depicted in some kind of negative way by somebody. But the Irish were very much depicted as very much as monkeys, right? And so, but we don't talk about that. And it used to be highly offensive to the Irish, right? As you could imagine, right? Really super highly offensive. But at some point in time, it doesn't become offensive anymore, right? Because the Irish stop being Irish and they start being white. And then once they start being white, then all the white people come together and it's like, okay, here we go. So here's another slide that shows how and why this isn't offensive, right? So this is George Bush, the president, George Bush, right? He was president a while ago, back when most of you were really young. And so somebody put these slides together of Bush, of his facial features, and then they found pictures of monkeys to say, hey, here's George Bush looking just like a monkey. And is that, so Abby, as a white person, is that offensive to you?
I think it's kind of cute.
Kind of cute? Yeah? Because which one's the cutest? The monkey pictures or the George Bush pictures, or both?
Like, just how, like, it's paired together. Like, I think monkeys are super cute. Like, I don't find that offensive. I think it's just cute and funny.
Okay. All right. Liv? Nafisa? Is it? Liv, how about you?
Well, in the way that it looks like a meme. It looks kind of like what she said, like more of a fun thing and not an offensive, like picking at them meanly.
Okay, got it. All right, man. So here, take a look at this one. So this is Michelle Obama depicted. It's the same thing. So, Abby, is that cute?
It almost looks more offensive just because, like, from my angle, it looks like most of the monkey faces are, like, aggressive and not, like, it almost looked like the ones with George Bush, like, look friendlier, and these, like, almost depict, like, something more negative. But I feel like this one would be considered offensive.
Nafisa, how about you? Michelle Obama.
I feel like this one could be seen as offensive, I think it is, and I feel like the other one with George Bush could be seen as offensive too, but people don't really know that background about the Irish as much as they know about African Americans being compared to wild animals and such. So I feel like they both could be seen as offensive, especially if you know how the Irish people were treated and what they were depicted as a while ago.
And Bush isn't Irish, by the way. It's just, he's just a white guy.
Oh, okay. Then never mind.
But nonetheless, maybe if he did his DNA test, he might be, right? So how about Liv? How about you? Or no, Alejandro, what about you?
I agree with what Abby said. Like, I feel like the monkey pictures in these ones are just much more aggressive. It's as if they were trying to make it offensive. Or the other one where it was just it was just funny. Like, it was just kind of being like, oh, you look like this, haha.
Yeah.
Like, not like trying to be rude.
Okay, so here, can you back up one? Yeah, I mean, maybe. I only see a couple that are really particularly aggressive in this one, but let me just offer something else, right? Could you imagine putting this on your wall? If it was like Joe Biden next to monkeys, could you put it on your Facebook wall? Would you do that?
No.
Okay. Can you imagine people doing it, though? The Bush one, because it's kind of fun. It's like a meme, right? Yeah. But the Michelle Obama one, you'd never do that? Yeah. So here, let me just say something, right? So one of the things, it's like, it's hard to be offended by something if you don't even know what it is that you should be offended by, right? Like if there's a word for you, like a word in another language, it's sort of like swearing in another language, right? There are some things. Like when you know swear words in other language, like Alejandra, do you speak Spanish fluently?
Not really. I understand it a little bit, though.
All right. So there are words in other languages, there are swear words that you can say that they don't really mean anything to you because it's sort of like it's just vocalizations. So like so there's this thing you say I hear it in Colombia, and I don't really hear it anywhere else, but it's like really, it's just one of these things you just don't say in public. And what it is nos llevó el putas. Nos llevó el putas, right? You have any idea what that means? What's that? What's that? No. It means basically we're fucked. But fucked in but it means it in like it's just a really vulgar way to say it. So I learned this thing, and I'm always looking for opportunities to say it when I'm in Colombia, right? Because I'm just like, hey, it's cool, right? It's just like, yeah, we're fucked, because like it's just really simple, because you want to say that sometimes, right? And so I'm always, nos llevó el putas. And so, but when I'm around people, there have been a couple times when I've been in a situation where I was just about to say it, and my friend sitting across the room is just like, no, don't say that, right? Like, you're going to say it, but don't say it. Or, here in the United States, right? It doesn't mean anything to me. It means nothing. And so, in some ways, this being offended by things is a similar kind of thing, right? Like, if it doesn't mean, this isn't racist, it's not a problem, it's just we're looking at George Bush as an individual. But go to the next slide. This is not only Michelle Obama, this is a reference to all black people. This is highly offensive because it's a characterization of black Americans that was used to all black people, actually, that was used to justify treatment of black people in some really, really terrible ways, right? But the other one with Bush is nothing. It's just like this funny thing that you do. So it doesn't have the offensive quality to it. And so sometimes people who might be offended by something might be offended, like it wouldn't be offensive to me, but it might be offensive to one of you, like the references to women, things that I could say, or things that other people would say that they have a certain meaning for you because of what it means for all women, but it doesn't seem like it should be that big of a deal, or why would it be that big of a deal, right? So one of the things that I want to talk about today, I want to keep talking about this, is like these things that really stand out or things that really matter that other people don't necessarily know about or don't understand, okay? So, go the next slide here. So, I want to go back to skin. Okay, I want to talk about skin for a few minutes. I want to have I don't know how long we're going to talk about skin, but I want to have a conversation about it. And kind of the politics of skin, how it matters, and how we think about it, and so on. And so you were here last class, all of you, right? So you remember the idea that, skin color changes as people migrated to different areas, different climate conditions, different levels of sun and heat and temperatures, and so on. Skin color adapted, or skin adapted, so greater and lesser degrees of melanin, and so it lightens as we go north and south, and it darkens as we're around the equator, and this is an adaptation, and it matters, right? Okay, so Alejandra. So you are Puerto Rican and Costa Rican. So tell me about your skin. So what are your...
So I'm technically second generation. Like my grandparents on both sides came from Costa Rica and Puerto Rico. My mom is super pale. I can't explain to you why she's so pale, and she's Puerto Rican. But from the Costa Rican side of my family, they all live more in the mountain part of Costa Rica rather than the beachy area, so they're lighter skinned, like my whole family is. Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And are you considered to have good skin, bad skin? How's your skin? How do people see your skin in your family? What do they say about your skin?
Like in Costa Rica, like in my family?
Yep.
I mean, they call me a gringa, like I look white.
Yeah.
But it's not bad because, like my sister, like she's paler than me and she can't tan. I don't tan the best, but I can tan a little bit. So it's like, I don't know, it's just kind of normal in my family with my skin tone. I maybe have 3 cousins that look Puerto Rican, if that makes sense.
So wait, do you try to tan?
I do.
And why? What's the purpose of that?
I don't just like being tan. I guess it's just kind of a thing. I just think it looks nicer. Not nicer. That's not what I mean. It just, I don't know. It's a summer thing to get a nice summer glow.
In a summer glow, but why? Like what is like? So I'm asking you now for the first, I don't know. Think about it. Like, what's the purpose? Just for you, right?
Mm-hmm.
Not for other people, just for you.
I feel like it kind of gives you a different look, like in the summer than over the winter. Like you know how some people dye their hair lighter in the summer, and then in the winter they go darker because it's a different look with the seasons.
Just like you.
Yeah.
So how about look at Nafisa here. Can you pull your shirt up? Would you want to be as dark as her?
I could never become as dark as her.
If you could be?
Could I be?
Yeah.
I don't think I could ever be.
No, but if you could be, would you want to be that dark? Like, what's a tan that you would want to be in the summertime? By the way, you're not on the spot here at all. Like, this isn't not. Let me be really clear. I'm just really curious. So I'm like, I don't have no idea how we're thinking about this stuff. So it's like, let's discover it together. Like what? So if you could be as dark as Nafisa, would you want to be that dark? Like what would be the ideal tan, the ideal color for you in the summertime?
I guess the ideal tan would be the stereotypical color of like an Italian.
How about Liv?
Like yeah. But like you can tell that her skin color is not from as much of a tan as it is from wherever she's from.
Okay.
Like it looks different.
Yeah.
If that makes sense.
Yeah. So, okay. All right.
Like she's like, I don't know, I guess like I would say the same level of like I would say tan, but if I were to get to her color, like I wouldn't look like the same color as her.
Okay, I got you. All right. And in your family, if you did tan and you got, is there a shade of brown that you would get to and your family would say, oh, that's too much?
No,
You don't think so?
no, because I have a lot of my family is my skin color, and then like I said, I have a couple that are the typical, Puerto Rican color, and then I have a couple black people,
You mean
darker skinned people in my family.
So Puerto Rico is, people in Puerto Rico are composed of 3 different ancestry groups, right? So Europeans, indigenous peoples of Puerto Rico, and then Africans. So, so you're saying like, yeah, we got people in my family with African blood, with darker skin.
Yeah, I do. Maybe only like 2 or 3 people. It was
Okay.
on the Costa Rican side of the family, though.
Yep. Okay.
But yeah,
All right. Oh yeah, I forgot Costa Rica's side too. Abby, how about you? How about you? Do you tan?
I do.
And do you purposefully tan?
Yes.
And what's behind that?
I feel like a lot of it is like societal norm. Like what's cool and like what's not. Like for a lot of people, it's like a cool thing to be a certain shade or to have like tan lines that you can show. It's almost like a fun summer activity, just like Andrea was saying, like to get that summer glow. Like it just makes me happy to look in the mirror and be like, oh, I'm glowing like I was in the summer when I was like happier, like more carefree. Like for me, it's almost just like a happy thing. Like if I'm ever, going through the seasonal depression or whatever, maybe I'll like fake tan, just look in the mirror and be a little happier.
So is there a shade of brown that you could get to that would be too much?
Like orange.
So it's more orange, not brown.
Yeah, I mean, I don't really I do like the light ones just for like the glow. I'm not trying to get more bronze, just like the glow.
Okay. All right. So, Nafisa, I have a question for you. Yeah. Liz, we're going to come back to you in a second. What do you think? First off, how much time do you spend in the sun?
In the winter, like I feel like I always look the same year round. I don't really get a tan unless like me and my family go back to like where my parents are from. So I guess this is just like typically how I am. But like when we go back, like I get darker. So.
And do you? So listen, can I just say something? By the way, this is what I do for a living, right? I'm going to ask a lot of questions that I'm asking the questions sometimes to let other people answer them. I'm not asking questions. I ask a lot of questions to which I already know the answers. You know what I mean? So it's not like, hey, there's this white guy that doesn't know anything. You know what I mean? So like, okay. So how do you use suntan lotion?
No.
You know?
No.
And how come?
I just tan without it if I'm out in the blazing sun. Like I use sunscreen because I'm still, I still have skin and black people can burn, so I still use sunscreen.
And
but
get
I don't.
cancer, by the way.
Yeah.
Okay, so wait, hang on one second. Wait, so you use sunscreen?
Yeah.
And the sunscreen for you is to protect your skin, not to keep you from getting darker, or is it also to keep you from getting darker?
Honestly, just to protect my skin. Like, I personally don't mind if I get darker. It doesn't bother me. But I guess, like, my mom's side of the family, like, where they're from, it's more urbanized. So, like, my mom's, like, a lighter shade than I am. So, like, all of her side of the family, they're, like, a little bit lighter. So they're less likely to get darker. They don't really like it. They see it as like if you get darker, it's kind of like a bad thing. But my dad's side of the family, he's from like a really small like country town in Senegal called Louga, and they're like, you have to be outside all the time. It's 10 times hotter there. It's super humid, so you're always outside, so you're definitely getting darker. So they don't really care.
So it's just part of life.
Yeah.
So go to your mom's side as a bad thing. So what is? Can you go into that a little bit? Like, what's the bad?
I'd say like even like me and my brother growing up, like just being outside, you always want to play outside with your friends. My mom would kind of be worried about that because she didn't want us being out in the sun. She didn't necessarily want us to get darker, like that was a bad thing. And
what's bad about it?
That's a good question. I guess it's just being darker isn't necessarily like, I don't know. That's a really good question. I guess it's just not like the typical beauty standard that you see in Dakar. Like all of the girls there have like a really nice shade of like brown, ranging to like my shade, but you never really see anything like darker like that.
Okay,
or
so
they don't really, I don't know.
Okay, so a nice shade of brown can live. What do you think here? No, you can keep the microphone. What do you think is a nice shade of brown for a black person?
Well, I like her skin tone, but I don't have a preference for like a black person's skin tone. I guess I actually really like really, really dark skin tone on black people.
Okay, so what do you think black people who say a nice shade of, what did you say, nice shade of?
I did say a nice shade of brown. Yeah.
Okay, so listen, I know, but you're not on the spot. Like, we're just unpacking this, right? So what do you think a nice shade of brown is for a black person? Like the average black person.
From my experience of like being friends with black people and just like the societal standards, I think of like a lighter caramel shade is what a lot of people, this is like my assumption / what I've heard people say, is that like a lighter skinned black person, that's like the desired skin tone.
Mm-hmm. Not really dark. So Navisa, no, that's all right. Nafisa. So Nafisa would be, from what you know, Nafisa would be a little too dark to be the ideal?
Yeah.
Uh-huh. And so, Abby, what do you think about that?
About Liv's statement?
About Nafisa, about people thinking that, Nafisa is a little too dark for the average.
Well, I think Nafisa's beautiful. I think her skin's beautiful. I think all shades
No,
are
I got that. But what do you think about, of course you do. Come on, are you kidding me? We all think Nafisa is beautiful. That's not the question. What do you think about, there's certain, what do you think about Nafisa's mom saying like, hey, don't go out and get too dark because it's not a good thing, because it's not beautiful, essentially, right? I mean, there's part of her is probably also you might hurt your skin, but that's not the primary thing that you said. So that's not the thing that's in. Her mom is saying, don't get out in the sun, you'll get too dark, and that's not beautiful.
Well, it kind of makes me sad because, like, all kids want to, like, go out and enjoy the sunlight and play. And the fact that, like, Nafisa might have been told as a child that if she goes out and play, like everyone else, she'll be, like, undesirable in the future or whenever because of, like, a darker skin tone.
Okay.
Societal.
Okay, all right. Where do you think that's from? Like, where do you think her mom or other moms, it's not just your mom, it's like millions of people, millions and millions and millions of people. Where do you think that comes from?
I'm not sure. It definitely dates from, like, way back. Like, the first thing that comes to my mind is, like, the slavery period and when, like, some certain people from, like, African descent had lighter tones and they could pass off as, like, white people so that they didn't have to undergo that. So maybe that's where, like, the whole, like, gradient of color was, like, termed that, oh, the lighter is more beautiful because maybe they could, have better outcomes than darker skin or darker pigmented people.
Somewhere it has to be that, right? But you can't convince people that you can't just take some random beauty standard and impose it on a population without associating that beauty standard with something that's connected to well-being. and your standard of living, right? There's no way you can do that. It's got to come along with something else. Like, not just that we will like you more or we'll think that you're more beautiful. It's like, no. You will get some kind of advantages somehow. The people who look like this will be put down in some way, but people that look like this will be uplifted in some way. So, So, Nafisa, so you're saying back in Senegal, you're from Senegal, right? Both parents?
Yeah.
So, like, you're seeing lighter skinned people, and like people who are the celebrities and so on. I mean, they're going to be lighter skinned across the board. This is what we see here, basically. How is that for you?
For me, I don't really know. Like, back home, it didn't really bother me because, everyone you see, like, it's always a woman that looks like you, maybe not the same skin tone, but they have the same body as you. They come from the same culture as you. So it never really fazed me until, like, growing up, like, here in the United States. Like, I was born here, and that's when I, like, really noticed, like, the difference of how people would treat, like, me versus, like, my other friends that were, like, lighter skinned.
So it's interesting that in some ways it's more insidious in Senegal, because it's like, yeah, everyone's black, but we're going to take lighter skinned people and give them all these advantages, which is really what it is, right? We're going to uplift them, elevate them, say they're more beautiful, they're going to have all sorts of advantages. So in some ways it's more insidious because it's like it's something that's even deeper in a way. Like, whereas here, it's like, well, it's pretty clear, right? We look at Abby, we look at Alejandra, Liv or whatever. It's just different, right? Mm-hmm. Do one of you have a question for Nafisa? Who has a question for Alejandra? You must have a question for her. Related to being her.
I guess to the question that you asked me that I didn't really know how to answer, like, what if you could become as light as me, would you?
Yeah.
No.
And
So I didn't mean to, like,
No, I'm not
No.
offended. Don't worry about it.
and same, like, what?
I mean, I feel like it's a weird question. A lot of people, like, growing up have asked me, like, if you could ever be, like, lighter toned, would you? And the honest answer is no. Like, I've never, ever, 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 ever wanted to, like, have lighter skin. It's just not something that I've ever desired, even though, like, I feel like sometimes that can be seen as, like, the beauty standard. I feel like I've always been comfortable in my skin, and I've never wanted to change it.
Uh-huh. Like, yeah. And, yeah, Liv, do you have a question?
Have you never not ever wanted lighter skin, even when your mom asked you to, like, stay out of the sun and things like that?
No, it would obviously hurt my feelings. I'd be like, okay, why? But no, even then, like, with my mom saying, like, oh, you don't want to get too dark, I've never ever thought about it.
You didn't, like, take it. You didn't internalize
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
Yeah, I got you, yeah. Yeah, and there's, like, look at it, it's like, we're all just living our lives, right? Like, this is one of the things. Hey, hang on 1 second. I have something I want to get something. Hang on 1 second now. All right, man. So listen, so have you ever, how many people back home use this, or back in Senegal use this, skin whitening cream?
Oh my gosh, my tata Noge, she actually is like, my mom has a lot of siblings. Like, her dad had 4 wives, and he or she is, like, the only one in the family. Like, she lightens her skin, and, like, seeing the pictures of, like, how she looked when she was younger, like, she was my complexion, and now has like a more
me?
No, not yet, but, like, more of, like, a caramel type skin tone. So it's definitely, like, a drastic change.
Yeah, man. It's all crazy, right? Like here, hang on. Can you get a shot of that? I don't know if you can. We'll get it into focus. It's called, I got this I think I got this in Mumbai. It might have been in Addis Ababa. But it's White Perfect. They all have these names that are just great, like White Perfect. Because, when I think about whiteness, white skin, I think perfection, right? So, of course, right? And then you get this standard photo, right? See the photo? It's like the light-skinned woman, the dark-skinned woman. See that? It's great. So you wouldn't think about using any of this? No. This is the number one cosmetic product in the world. Do you know that? Number one, skin whitening cream. The number one cosmetic product in the world. Sell more of this than any other single product, is skin whitening cream all over the world, which is pretty amazing to think how many people use this, right? And it works for your aunt?
Yeah. Well, I don't know if it's like exactly that, but she definitely has like lightened or bleached her skin. Yeah.
So one semester, I had a student use this I had a bottle of it that I got. I forget where I got that bottle, but I had her use it the whole semester under her arm every day. It didn't do anything the whole semester. I'm like, what the hell? Like, what is that? So Liv, how about you? Because people of Asian, what's your background?
I'm Chinese Vietnamese.
Chinese Vietnamese? And you have been to both China and Vietnam, right?
China briefly, yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah.
But you were born here in the U.S.?
Yes, I was
Do
born
you
here.
speak Vietnamese or Mandarin or?
I speak Vietnamese in my house.
Yeah. So this is really popular in Asia, right? First off, can I ask you a question? Like your skin, is your skin too dark? Is it for average Asians? It's a little dark. You're a little dark.
I'm a little dark for like average Asian, like ideal type, especially what I've seen in like Chinese media.
Yeah.
I've seen like a lot paler skin, but I'm also a lighter skin tone compared to a lot, like the majority of like Asians, like Southeast Asians are a lot darker than me.
Yeah. So can I hang on? Let me look at. Yeah. Oh wait. Can we? I actually want to come back to really quick. I want to come back to. Do you know who this is, by the way?
I do not.
She's a model from Sudan, from South Sudan. Nyakim. It's Nyakim. Does anyone know Nyakim? Nyakim. Nyakim, I think. Yeah, like Gatwit or something. But the woman on the left, not the one on the right? And it's really hard to find a photo of her because, they really accentuate her skin tone. Like she's really just, as a model, right? Like she's now gone in the opposite direction. As very well known, very established, very famous celebrity model who's really, really, really dark, but really striking, right? And she gets asked all the time. It's like, wouldn't you rather be lighter? We have all these benefits, this, that, and the other thing. It's like, no, this is who I am, right? So the question for you is, anyway, for me, as a sociologist, when I look at that photo, when I look at any photo, when I look at the four of you, or when I look at this photo, for me, I don't understand. I just don't even comprehend it, what the issue is or what the struggle is or what anything is, right? It's just this skin is just this part of our body that has been politicized in such a way, or has been really important for millennia because it's the first thing that people see. But then at some point in time, it also got politicized. But if we take all of that out of it, it's just utterly fascinating to see all the different ways in which people are. Can you go to the next slide, though? So skin in Asia, in East Asia, is just hugely important, right? So where skin whitening is. So you would be considered far too dark, you yourself, right?
I'd say in my family specifically, I'm like a much lighter skin than, but I'm also like, I'm in the middle in my like specific family.
Yeah.
But in general, yeah, I would be pretty dark.
But so how is that in your family? How do you all talk about skin in your family?
They definitely do favor lighter skin.
And what do
like-
you mean they favor it?
Well, they don't like show favorites to children who have lighter skin, but they definitely like it better if we didn't tan over the summer that much, and just like want us to be safe with our skin. And also, we talk a lot, not specifically about our skin like as the family, but they talk a lot about like white people and black people in America, and they show a lot of favoritism towards white people, partially because they're lighter skin.
So you mean your family does?
My family, yeah.
Yeah. And what do you mean when you say they show favoritism? Like, you meaning that it's just more beautiful to have lighter skin, or you?
More beautiful. They interact with them more politely. They say good things about them, because my family likes to talk about people behind their backs a lot, and they talk more negatively about black people. And on my mom's side, there have been some like interracial marriages, but they've only been with like white people. And so I don't know that like no one's married a black person yet, and I feel like that will cause a lot of drama in a negative
this
way.
is your chance. You know what I mean? Your chance to
Hit me up.
plant your freak flag in your family. Dude, where's Chris from the other day? Where's Chris? Dude, there you go, right? So let me. Do you have any idea where light skin comes from? Like the preference for light skin comes from in Asia?
I don't.
Do you have any? Anybody? Do you have any idea, Abby? Do you have any idea where the preference for light skin comes from in Asia? Nah, just where when it entered in, and why it is that Asians started to prefer.
Like, I feel like it's also like a historical thing of like being outside, and like laborers outside would have like darker skin, and I know like a lot of like Asian descended women would like powder white their face to like give the appearance that they were like indoors all day, that they were wealthier. It was like a status. Yeah,
probably something with that, but at the same time, we don't even really know. We have no idea, right? I mean, it goes back about, we see the very beginnings of this, 1,500 years ago, right? That it's like, whoa, it's so far back. It's the first conversations about light skin, about white skin, not light skin, not like skin like mine, not skin like yours, or skin like Alejandra's. This has nothing to do with Europeans. This is an Asian preference for white skin, that to accentuate features, in particular to accentuate like your hair and your eyebrows, and like your black hair and your black eyebrows, which almost everybody has, but not everybody, but almost in East Asia, right? And so this idea of white skin, like really pushing that. And so, it has nothing to do with wanting to be white or wanting to be European or not wanting to be African, right? It's like way beyond or way before all of that. Yeah. So do people in your family use, did I ask you that? Do they use the cream?
Actually, my stepmom uses whitening cream.
Yeah.
And it's like in the beauty products that she has. And I know that, I don't know specifically who, but I've seen like used beauty products in like my mom's side, like my aunts have used it. So whitening cream is definitely not a stranger to my family.
Yeah. And do they, where does she use it? Like her whole body or just certain parts of her body?
On her face, because that's like, I guess it's similar to when you think about wearing sunscreen daily, you just put on your face.
Yeah.
That's where she puts it on.
Yeah. And Nafisa, same. And
she would put it like all over her body, like her face matches the rest of her body.
Even like on her back and stuff, like everywhere?
Yeah. It's,
damn, seriously?
Yeah,
So she was like buying this shit by the gallons, right?
I mean, she has the money for it, so.
Yeah. Wow, that's wild, man. Huh. Abby. And what do you think about that? What do you think about skin whitening cream being the number one cosmetic product?
I mean, it surprised me that it was the number one thing. But I mean, if people want to use it, I think that's great. To me, it gives off the same vibes as like plastic surgery. It's like you're altering a part of yourself, but it's also, if that's what's going to make you happier, then that's great.
Yeah, well, in part, maybe. I don't know. Like, is it what's going to make you happier, or is it also, are you buying into something that's like some kind of idea that is some way imposed, right?
I mean, to me, I guess that's like, if it's like a scam or not. Like, if it like actually works, or like, I honestly don't know how it works. Like, I've never used it or like known anyone that has. I don't know if it like permanently changes skin, or if it's just like a temporary thing,
No.
like an anti-fake tan.
Yeah, no, it wears off after a while. You have to keep going. Hey, let me put something out here. So like the skin, can I actually ask a question? To what degree, first off, Black and brown people often feel oppressed by a lot of this stuff, right? Like skin and so on. In what degree is it really oppression, or to what degree are people responsible for changing their own minds about stuff, right? Like, just take dark skin, for example, right? Like, to what degree is somebody like you, Nafisa, right, oppressed by this imposition of lightness is more beautiful? All, like, you go back, Senegal, and all the models are light. I go down to Haiti, and every single president of Haiti, except the very first one, is light skinned. I mean, there's just some of them look white, right? It doesn't matter. The elites around the world, almost consistent, except in South Sudan, by the way, because it's a new country. But the elites around the world are almost always lighter skinned, right? To what degree is it an oppressive thing, or what degree are people responsible for saying, I'm not going to buy into that bullshit? Is it?
That's a good question. I don't want to say it's necessarily people buying into that. Especially like here in America, like I know like me and my brother were the same shade of black, and my dad's a little bit darker than us. And I feel like they're definitely more oppressed, and not just because they think of themselves as being too dark, but people see them as like, oh, the average like dark black man, like still kind of people still kind of hold on to that stereotype.
Like in Liv's family.
Yeah, like I don't think it's us necessarily buying into it, like being like, oh, just because I'm black, they think this. That's just how it actually is.
Maybe it's when you buy into, like, I need to use skin whitening cream because I'll look more beautiful.
Yeah.
That's a different story.
Yeah.
Well, here, let me just show you something here. We do know that skin tone matters to the ways in which we interact with people, right? So we know that, first off, we know that the darker skin pigmentations has more negative associations with it than lighter skin pigmentation. Like that we know, right? And the only way we know that is because we're studying it, right? Like we're looking at it, we're studying it. So in here, I'm going to show you an example of that. Like, so this guy did this research, and he showed a face, and he just like laid out, showed this face, this image associated with a word next to it. And there were two different words. So one was educated, and then next slide. The other one was ignorant, and it's the same face, okay, the exact same face. And then said, okay, so people saw this briefly, right? And it's almost subliminal, right? Because a lot of this is subliminal, right? You know what I mean? It's kind of like, what are you thinking? And well, you don't want to be conscious about it because there's all these biases that are out there that people aren't really conscious of. So go back again, right? So educated, or half the people see educated, and then next slide, the other half see ignorant associated with the image, okay? In fact, we could do this in this class. We could have just done the bottom half sees one slide and the top half sees another. And then people see this slide here, and they say, okay, now you got to pick out the face. Which one was that guy? And there's the guy, and then there's 3 tones darker and 3 tones lighter. And so we're always trying to really understand the degree to which this stuff matters to, say, like your father and your brother, right? Like how much it matters. Or how much it would matter with you if you decided, or you're in your family, to get much darker, or could get much darker, right? And so what this guy, what he discovered, which is really one of these things, it's like, wow, this is really fascinating. That people who saw the word, the image with the word ignorant associated with it, and he did this in lots of different ways. These were 2 words that he used, but he used a lot of different ones. People who saw the image with the word ignorant associated with it tended to pick out one of the darker images. And people that saw the face with the word educated next to it were more likely to pick out one of the lighter toned or pigmented images. And what this tells me, right, this is exactly what you are saying is that there are certain outcomes. Like not every outcome can be associated with skin tone, right? Like I have lighter skin, and so therefore I'm treated differently by people. That's you can't make a claim like that. That's absurd, right? Or the people with lighter toned skin are always going to be treated more favorably, and people with darker skin are always going to be treated less favorably. That's just absurd to make a claim like that. But when we do research in this way, we say like, whoa, but these things are happening out there, because it doesn't happen in the reverse, right? It's not the case that people see the image associated with education and people educated, and people overwhelmingly look at more darkly pigmented, the darker images. And the people who see ignorant overwhelmingly look at the lighter images. And we do many variations of research like this, and we see a similar kind of thing. And that is, so like, Liv, where do you think your family, if your family or parts of your family speaks more negatively about black people than white people, where do you think that's from?
Where is it from?
Yeah, where are they getting that from?
Well, it's definitely like part of a culture of color, like with colorism, and like they prefer their skin to be lighter and darker.
Yep.
So they like prefer like white people over black people. But it's also just being in America, they've seen how people are treated, and they like see that black people are not favored in general, and white people are more favored.
Yeah, you buy into a system of structural colorism, right? Which is what we're looking at. And look, here, hang on. This goes back to the conversation that we had about critical race theory. One of the things that we did in the United States that is really, and we see it in Europe and we see it here, is we built an entire stratification system based on physical characteristics. Like people didn't do that elsewhere, right? Like in Asia, people didn't say, hey, going back to, I think really the first reference, now I'm remembering, the first reference in China is in 200 BC, before BCE, right? Before the Common Era. That's 2,200 years ago. We're seeing the first references to white skin. And again, not light skin, but white skin. That's not because there were people with all these random skin tones and they decided, hey, we don't like those people and we're going to oppress them or whatever. It's like, no, that's not that at all. It's just some vision for white skin. But here in the U.S., and we don't see it in Africa, right? Like we see lots of stratification all throughout Africa, including historically in Senegal, but not on the basis of skin tone. That is something that came with the Europeans. Like Europeans very much brought that. And we brought it to the Americas and we brought it into Africa, but we didn't bring it into Asia, right? Just like we didn't bring it into India. And so we created this system and now we're living with the impact of it, just like your Yeah. Alejandra, I have a question for you. So I want to go back now to your skin tone, being who you are. And I'm like, does anything like jump out for you? Like, what are you thinking about, like, just with your life and the way you see yourself in a mirror, the way your family sees you, the way your family sees your other family members who are more darkly pigmented?
Well, a lot of my family is lighter skin, and so a lot of the times, like telling somebody that I'm Puerto Rican, they're like, no, you're not. I guess that part kind of sucks about my skin. I guess that might be part of the reason why I tan, is to kind of fit my ethnicity a little better, if that makes any sense.
So like it's not cool to be white and Puerto Rican and Costa Rican.
It's just not the stereotypes when it comes to other people. Like my family, like they know obviously that I'm Puerto Rican and I'm Costa Rican, and I'll act in that way, you know, whatever, like the way I was raised, like Spanish culture. And they're like okay with the fact I don't look like it, and they can still see me as Puerto Rican rather than somebody who's just used to the stereotypical, the tan with the Spanish haircut and whatnot. And they're like, oh no, I just see white. So I guess, I mean, I'm perfectly okay with my skin color. I've never had a problem with it, but I also wouldn't mind getting closer to what is known for being
brown.
Hispanic.
Do the two of you see her as less Puerto Rican at all or something? Or less Latina in any way? No, because I don't hear Latino men talk about this, but I hear Latino women talk about it, you know, actually I hear men too. Like not wanting to be like white and Hispanic because then you're more like Abby and less like Alejandra. Not that it's bad to be you and me, Abby, you know what I mean? Like we're cool. We're white people, we're cool, right? We got it all. But, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
You guys have any questions? Do you have a question for me? Anybody have a question for me?
If you could change your skin tone, would you? If you were asked this question when you were our age, what would your thoughts have been?
When I was your age, I would have just said, like, nah, whatever. I am what I am. It's all good. Now, I wish I had grown up with more melanin in my skin to protect it more from the ultraviolet rays of the sun. Just have more of a natural protection over the course of my life. Like, it would have been really nice. I would have dealt with other consequences of that, but it would have been nicer because now as I get to my age, I see, and this is one of the things about being more lightly pigmented, you see the damage that the sun does, right? And so, yeah. Yeah, that's a good question. All right, man. Hey, y'all, thanks, by the way. Can you just... Yeah, just do that.